life of mine, well, it's teaching me so many things, like how to love and how to lose and how to choose.
Well, hello, this is Linda Carbonell, and welcome to another edition of Walking Through Life. Today I happen to have a fellow TV producer, Mike Smith from Fact TV. You want to tell us a little bit about where Fact TV is and what it is?
Thanks, Linda. And hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on the show today. I'm Mike Smith, and I produce a couple shows on Fact TV. Fact TV stands for Falls Area Community Television, and we're located in Bellows Falls, Vermont. We're another community access PEG station and we just happen to be located down there, and our catchment is sort of down on that side of the thing. But this summer, Bellows Falls sort of experienced some tragedy. It was over a period of maybe 4 months. There were three suicides of young people, and it was really difficult. It really struck home because it was people that, like here in White River, the communities are really small, and everybody knows everybody. And it just so happened that one of the suicides, the guy had been couch surfing and had stayed at our station manager's house for a while.
Oh, wow.
And then happened to go out and later commit suicide. So he was affected by that, and so we decided that we needed to do something to try to address this, or somehow bring awareness to people that there's that there's help, and that there's things that you can do if you're feeling that way, and there's help and there's hope. But it's me and Alex, and I had years ago worked for healthcare and rehab services in southeastern Vermont, so I still knew some people back there, and so I emailed them and said, this is a problem we're having. We're thinking about doing a show, but we're not sure where we should go with it. We have an idea for a show, and so we ended up getting in touch with George Karapakakis, who is their CEO. And he said, well, yeah, we would like to do that, and we would like to, be part of the program and bring awareness to people, because I don't know if people know, but healthcare and rehab services is really the mental health services for Windham and Windsor County, and they cover both counties, and they have a lot of people that are out and about and in the field and doing work, and so we were thinking that it was like, okay, this is where we need to go. We'll go there, and we'll talk with their staff and their people, and so we did that. I interviewed George for about an hour, and then we went out and talked with their emergency service people and some people that were court diversion people and other groups of people, and we started putting the footage together. And it just didn't ring true. It was still me talking about something that I'm not really familiar with, and we didn't think that we would connect with people. So we were casting around for things to do, and I asked George if he knew of anyone who would talk with us who was closer to the issue and may have experienced it, maybe know people who have experienced it, and they gave me your name.
Yeah, and it worked out great, didn't it?
It did. It was amazing. I mean, because we were thinking, here we are we're a bunch of talking heads, and nobody's going to watch this, but we came up and we talked with Linda about her experience and who she is and where she's come from, and we walked around the White River here one day in the summer and talked about the different places she'd been and where she lived and the struggles that you've had, and it was like, well, this is it. This is how we're going to connect.
And I'm so glad that I was able to do that. But I got to tell you, Mike, you were somebody that was very comfortable to talk to, extremely comfortable, and I knew you cared just as I knew Alex cared, and this was something that you both cared about. So participating in it was important for me, because this is something that I struggled with for many years and changed. Changed my feelings in the whole 9 yards. So your idea of wanting to reach people that maybe have lost hope, it just really rang true for me, wanting to help others too.
Yeah, and it was just really great that you were open so open and so easy to talk with too. I mean, you were open, easy, and you spoke about the journey that you've taken, and that's really, it really lit up some, you know, it opened my eyes in a lot of ways as far as that it's not just about the desperation and the emptiness, but it's there's a message of hope, that there's,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like I remember you saying there's one, well, you were
Little-
saying there's
one
one
little light,
little
yeah.
light, and then
That
you
stopped
saw it,
me,
and
yeah.
it stopped you from, and if we can help people find that one little
Just
light.
that one little dot, that one little light.
and that's really a strong message, and I'm glad that you shared it with us.
And you know, one of the things I like to say too is that when we are so suicidal and we don't ask for help, you know, we're not going to get it. And sometimes we see, you know, God's light in other people, but when you're that depressed, you don't see it until you're ready to see it, or until, you know, you do see it. For me, fortunately, that one little light was down by the river, and a number that I had remembered, an 800 number that I had remembered and decided to call. That was my one little flicker right there.
Yeah.
That was it.
And then to follow along, because it seemed like you found purpose in life after that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just see all the stuff that you've done since then. It's
Yeah.
just, it's incredible. I mean, your shows that you do, the public work that you do, the editing and everything else is just, your message is really strong. And it's that purpose that has really changed.
Is the purpose is, you know, and this wasn't the first purpose, you know, it's finding something that helps you feel like you have something that you can offer people.
And that's, I
You
guess
know.
that's a good way, because that was
Yeah.
sort of one of the hooks or one of the ideas we were trying to get to, because I think young people today, and I'm just going to relate back to myself, was when I was young and I got out of high school, it was like there was a whole path set out. I mean, it was like,
Yeah.
I got out of graduated from high school, I went in the military, I went to college, you know, and by the time I got through all those things, I was like 10 years down the road, and it was, you know, I was mature and I knew what I was doing, and it wasn't like, and I wasn't lost. You know, there was a big path, a straight path that I didn't have to worry about seeing. And kids today, it's like,
You know, they
there's,
Yeah.
if you get out of high school, you might not be able to get a. I mean, even my
Right.
brother,
Yeah.
my brother was older. He didn't go to college and didn't have that same path, but he went out and there was a job,
Yeah.
and he got in a
Yeah.
job and did a career.
Yeah.
And just, you know, he was in the job for, you know, how many every years until he retired. So there was again a clear path. And today it seems like kids, there's so much uncertainty as to, you get out of high school, and if you don't go to college right away, there's not.
It's like a loss, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I got out of school, when the school told my mother she could teach me, and I went out on my own for the first time, and I got a job at a boot factory. That was my purpose at that time, was to go to work every day, get up and go to work,
Well,
clean my
that's-
house. You know, I had a purpose, you know. And then when I became disabled in 1985, I didn't have that purpose anymore. So being diagnosed with borderline, which is, angry, all that stuff, and self-harming behavior, and, was a lot to it anyway. I didn't understand it, and I still don't really understand it. I just know the desperation, the feeling of not wanting to be around anymore, just checking out. And it was so often that I was probably in the hospital like six months out of the year.
Wow.
In the state hospital, yeah. And when I came back here to Vermont, I needed a whole new change because, I was addicted to alcohol in California. And when I got here and I went to HRS, that was when somebody pointed out to me that I really wasn't looking at, was that I was addicted, that I had a drinking problem. And I weren't looking at that. So when it was brought up, they never pushed me into going to get help. They just gave me pamphlets, told me where I could, and luckily there was a recovery center, which was the Turning Point Club, right next door to where HRS was, right here. And so I went there, and there I found my next purpose, which was to volunteer and to help people. And that seemed to be something that really clicked with me that I really, really liked. I really liked helping others. And then, just being involved with HRS and having case managers and therapists and doctors, and then also having a recovery center where we've got, you know, responsibility and that you can help others and they can help you. Right. I mean, they taught me how to read and write. Can you believe that? They did.
That's just
all
incredible.
The volunteers, yeah. They all helped me learn to read and write, which was.
But the other side of that coin is you decided to learn to read and write.
Exactly. So yeah.
Because
it was like
it's two sides.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone can offer you something, but you have to want to take it.
Right. Well, that's what it was asked to me, is that, you know, okay, so you don't know how to read and write. Do you want to learn? And the executive director maybe asked me 3 times, do you want to learn? Finally, I said, yes. But you don't understand. The teacher said I couldn't. And he goes, well, if you want to learn, he says, I will purchase a program for you to learn. He said, now here comes the hard part, because if you're serious about learning, you got to go out there and ask all the volunteers to help you. And so I took a chance. I was brave enough, and I asked for help.
And that's another hard thing to do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's wonderful to see people that are, their purpose in life is to help you learn. You know?
Yeah, good for you. How old were you when you went through that part of the process?
Oh, crap, let me see. I've been sober since 96, so it was before I married Ted in 98, so I'd say around 97. It took about, once he...
So it's relatively recently, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow,
yeah.
that's amazing.
It's, yeah, I mean, maybe I don't spell everything right, but...
Yeah, neither do I.
Maybe I don't spell anything, but I can read anything. I've got so much knowledge in my head from reading, plus I've got life experience, which you can't get that from a book, you know. And yeah, it was great for me, and I became the volunteer coordinator, and I took that job very serious. And then came the point, you know, because I love the Turning Point, but it came to the point where funding, depending on an office manager and somebody to also at the same doing that volunteer coordinator. And so I couldn't do that because I didn't have like computer jobs or whatever.
Right.
So
I bet you could do that now though, because I've seen you out on the computer here. You probably.
Oh yeah, well that type. Yeah, but I can't do the, you know, the computer, you know, the numbers and all that.
Oh.
So anyway, so it was kind of strange because then I stepped back and I said, now I can just go and visit people, you know, here and, you know, be okay. And lo and behold, no more than a year later, I saw the ad on TV that said, be a star, create your own show. And I so wanted to give people, because I know there's many more, like me, a voice. I no longer wanted us shunned behind a table, afraid to say, I have a mental illness. I don't want that, because I want people to understand that we can have a very good quality, happy life.
Right.
Even though you do struggle, you know, you still do struggle, you know. So there's many people in my life that I credit my my recovery to. You know, and another thing is dialectical behavior therapy that I took, which is really good for people with borderline, because like I said, when I got suicidal, it was like a desperate feeling. Right. Like, you know, and this dialectical behavior therapy teaches you other things that you can do when you get to that point.
So it gives you, if you feel, it makes you recognize that you have that feeling. And
exactly.
Says, when I have this feeling, I can do this, or
yeah,
this.
It teaches you how to actually ask for help.
Oh, okay.
It teaches you to be able to say, hey, I need attention, I need it now. It teaches you to be able to.
But it teaches you to ask for that in the right way.
Yeah, in the right way.
Because a lot of things that people do, they're asking for attention, but they're asking in the wrong way.
In the wrong way.
They're
you know, and that was
hurting themselves, or they're hurting something,
or changing
breaking.
personalities. I did that too. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I swear that everybody thought I had multiple, and I'm ashamed to say this, but everybody thought I had multiple personalities. But actually, what it was is those personalities represented what I needed at that very time.
Oh, really?
You know, like
so you would act a certain way when you needed
right. So if I needed a love, and attention, and touch, or whatever, I'd become this small child where people would, you know, want to touch and give them a hug. You know, So it's all, you know, and I know there's a big thing about multiple personalities, whether they're true or whatever. And I don't think I want to say that they're not. It's not true. It's a tool, I guess, that I used to receive the type of attention I wanted at the time.
That really makes sense. That's the best explanation I've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
That's really, that's very good. That's another light you've just turned on for
me.
Oh,
thank you.
Because I now I sort of understand.
Oh, you're crying. What are you doing?
Well, that's because you gave me a gift. You know, come on. But yeah, that's pretty
What's
cool.
really neat though is that people want to they want to help so much, and just that, you know, a lot of us have struggles with fear of, you know, well, if we tell somebody something, maybe we're going to be put in the hospital, or, you know, we're going to be judged, or, you know, we're locked away, you know. And I suffered from that quite a bit, the anxiety of possibly being locked away in the hospital after my mother died. And it kind of, you know, my sisters and everybody else kind of talked me going. And one of the things I told when I got there, I wanted to go home. And the doctor asked me why. And I said, because I don't like being locked up. And I don't like it when I can't go outside. So he made arrangements for me to be able to go outside if I stayed. Take a nurse with you and go outside. And that helped. And they had to stay for 8 weeks. Now, this is the benefit from that stay. All my medication got changed. I needed a total recall on medication.
Yeah.
And it worked.
So did you like go off everything and then bring one thing on at a time, or did they just say, these are done, we're going to do these?
Right. That's more of what they did. And one of the things I learned from being in the hospital, from even medication change, is the workshops and the groups that they have at the hospital. A lot of people don't like to go to them because of the depression, or it's hard to go to them. But I would.
Because the reason they're in the hospital in the first place is that they're at a low stage. So
right. But those workshops are specifically for what we really need. And, you know, like there's family groups, there's artwork, and there's everything. And if you're willing to participate, I got a lot out of it. I really did. But the one thing that I got the most out of at Dartmouth, right? So it was after my mother died, and I was there at the hospital by myself. And I couldn't remember anybody's number. And then all of a sudden, I remember my Uncle Lenny's name. So we found his number. And I called him up, and I said, I'm at Dartmouth. Could you come and see me? And he goes, yeah. He goes, you need anything? And I said, well, could you get me a pack of cigarettes? So he came. This guy didn't know what he was getting into, right? Yeah. So I'm in my room, and I go in and, you know, greet my uncle and my aunt and give them a hug and everything. And here comes the nurse saying, it's time for family group. And and then Uncle Lenny's looking at me, and the nurse goes to him. She goes, would you participate in family group? And he looks at his wife, and he looks at me, and he goes, yeah, okay.
Oh, neat.
He goes in, he sits down, and the conversation soon comes to him as, what does it mean for you to be here supporting Linda? Yeah. And he gave the story of, you know, he didn't know he had a sister, my mom.
Wow.
Until years, and then he lost her. But he gained 5 nieces.
Oh my goodness.
He gained 5 nieces, and he loves them so much. And it was just like, I was just like crying, and just, this is what I always wanted. I wanted this,
that
you know?
family piece.
Yeah.
So your mom died when you were young, or?
No, she died in 2005.
Oh, okay.
So that was, well, 2000, yeah. But just before I started this show. Well, it was about, she died in March. I was in the hospital in 2004. No, she died in October 2005. I started the show in May. So. Yeah. So.
But your uncle came up and supported you.
Oh, geez, it was so.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I just felt so blessed.
Did he think he set him up when the whole family group thing started right after he walked in the door?
I know. And you know, that's funny, because strange for me, all the times I was in the hospital for suicidal, I never let my family know. I didn't want them to know, in fear that they'd never talk to me again.
Yeah, that's that stigma thing again.
Yeah, you know? And actually, you know, I've had my sisters tell me, we wish you would have, you know, we would have been there for you. We wish you would have. And, you know, now I know that I don't have no more fear of telling people how I'm feeling. And this is what I want to bring across to others, too, is that there is that hope in finding it. And what is it that you're looking for? What type of, I hate to use the word attention, because everybody says, well, you're just looking for attention, because that's not true.
Yeah, it dismisses it. It makes it seem like it's something small, but it's really a big thing.
Yeah, attention is a big thing, and everybody deserves it.
And everybody, that's what, I think attention is the biggest for what humans want the most.
Exactly, everybody,
Yeah, everybody wants attention. Yeah. I mean, and it's not like everybody's like looking to be in the spotlight, it's just the contact.
But can you imagine somebody going through life without ever being touched, physically touched, or you know, goes for 3 months, 4 months without physically being touched by anybody? You know, we crave that touch. We need that touch.
Well, that's how we're programmed.
Exactly, because I remember being in a hospital in California where that was the whole purpose was when you went in there and you're suicidal or whatever, and they said, we've got a certain program here. We wake you up in the morning at 7. The massage therapist comes in, puts you on a heating pad, and then gives you a massage. Wow. Then you're up and having coffee and breakfast. And then we have group all day long, and then at night the massage therapist comes back. And it was like,
really?
Yeah, but it wasn't for pain or anything.
No, it was for contact.
Exactly.
And touch.
And that's a holistic hospital that was.
Yeah, that sounds like it, yeah.
Can you imagine if we brought that here to Vermont?
Yeah.
What a difference that would make.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's so nice to see somebody, to see people that are wanting to make a difference, you know, just, you know, anybody can make a difference by going, yeah, I've watched these things where people go up and say, hey, have a nice day, but instead they say, here's a free smile for you, or, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
we need
free
way
smile.
more of that stuff.
That's kindness,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But then you look at people that maybe have their head down, and some people think, well, they're judging me or whatever, when actually they're having a hard time. Mm-hmm. They're having a hard day.
Yeah, that's, I guess one of the other, you reminded me of that, one of the other things I had watched when we were starting to work on this program was, it was another suicide survivor, and he lived in San Francisco, and he decided that he was going to commit suicide, and he just was going to go to the Golden Gate Bridge and jump off. And he said he rode on the bus all the way in, just wishing someone would talk to him and say hi. And if anyone had said something to him, he would have stopped. But it was that same that same description. It's like he was sitting there, maybe his eyes were down, he wasn't making eye contact, and no one talked to him. And then he finally ended up on the bridge, and he jumped, but he managed to survive. But he talked about that whole process of if anyone at all had said, hey, how you doing today? Or what are you thinking about? Or how's it going? Or, you know, what about the weather? If anyone had said something to him, he would have stopped. Yeah. But he didn't, and no one did. So when we're out there and we're looking at somebody, you can say hi, you know, you can say, hey, how's it going? And you never know where you might change somebody's life.
Change somebody's life, just simple things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's real hard in society today with all the stigmas, and we really do have some bad bullies. We do have some bad bullies, and it really upsets me to see people getting hurt, and that people that do the bullying, or you know they're not heartless, you know, and you know maybe they don't even know what they're actually doing, and later on in life they may regret it, but you know it's more to wanting to educate them, to let them know that, hey, you know, it's okay to be our friends. Right, right. It's okay to stand beside us. You know, we're not going to rub off on you, you know. and that's true for anybody, I think. Everybody's got something.
Yeah, and we see it more today with everybody with their phone and stuff, that we become more and more isolated. Instead of coming together, which some people think that does bring you together because we become more apart. Nobody in your immediate surroundings is paying attention to you when you have the phone in your hand and you're looking at it. Yeah, it's an interesting time we live in.
But it's really neat, though, living here in Hartford, because everybody here has just been so friendly. The whole town. It's like, I love this town. I've never thought I'd love a town as much as I love the town of Hartford. I mean, it's just, it's crazy because, you know, everybody that I've met here served some sort of purpose in my recovery. Mm-hmm. Everybody.
That's great.
It is.
It's a community.
Yeah, exactly.
That really makes a big difference.
And it's good to see that we're loved, and it's good to see that my husband is loved, and you know, it's good to see others that are feeling more comfortable coming forward and talking about whatever is going on for them. Doesn't matter what it is, just talking about it. I'm really encouraged that that's kind of changing a little bit. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Donald Trump.
I don't have a lot of hope there, but
no.
I'm trying to change my attitude. I'm trying to be, you know, it's only the first day, so I'm trying to work my way around.
The election was yesterday.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I am encouraged that Lieutenant Phil Scott won, and David Zuckerman too.
Well, I mean, I think
I've had both of them on the show. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but
well, Phil Scott's been on several different times on the show. he's very good about coming and listening to concerns. You can't make any promises, but they can listen.
Yeah,
and
that's true. I have managed to interview him on Fact TV too.
Did you?
And I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
But I have to say that I ended up interviewing everyone that ran for governor, and I thought that any of the people that won, or any of the people that ran, probably would have made a good governor. They all had really good points, and I think that's a good thing about Vermont is, I think there isn't that big. Everybody's sort of like in the middle.
Yeah.
No one. We don't have so many extreme people. And I think that's a real nice thing about Vermont. And the same thing about Bellows Falls. We talk about it a lot, but everybody knows pretty much everybody, and everybody supports everybody, and it's a pretty nice place to live. It's similar.
It is.
Here,
It's a great place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, I put invitations out for everybody to come and get interviewed that they want, because it didn't always work out for some of the candidates.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, I'm not going to interview the other ones too, I just decided to interview the ones that could. Show up
That's
and come.
the best way to be.
Yeah.
Just be open, and if they can
Yeah.
make it, they can make it. If
Right,
not,
and who knows? They might be able to the next time around. Who knows?
Yeah.
But but Vermont is. I mean, I grew up in New Hampshire, but New Hampshire, I loved New Hampshire growing up there. But Vermont is my life as an adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
as a true
understand.
adult, somebody, that's participating in society.
I grew up in Pennsylvania. And,
Did you?
But out in the farm country, and Vermont now reminds me of what Pennsylvania was like back in the 50s and 60s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was much more small community, friendly place to be. And when I go back home now, it's all strip malls, and it's not anything like it was. So I stay here.
Vermont's great for being one that does a lot of acts of kindness too. I did do a little thing on Facebook about that, because there was like these people that were going around in a van with food for lunches for anybody that wanted one. And they found that it was really good. It was helpful to people that were like not getting out of the house. They couldn't get around to either go to the dinners or to do whatever. And so the Hartford Coalition sponsors that. And I think that's just great. That's an act of kindness, because you're actually going in and approaching somebody and saying, here, I got
have some food.
Yeah, and then other people will come, make comments about your gardens, or, want to know what you feel about the raspberry bush downtown, or they have First Fridays where almost every place in this place has open house on Fridays.
Oh, nice.
And then they have music down at the Hotel Coolidge down there. And it's just so awesome to have these things. They have Glory Day at the River. They have so much here. And it's really a group of people that the citizens of Hartford are really together and close. So
Yeah, that's great.
it's great to feel that, though. Do you find that down where
I do. I find it. Right now, we're going through a little bit of a thing with the town manager and stuff, and people are a little divided. But I'm hoping that's going to go away, and people are going to come. But 90% of the time, everybody's very supportive, and everybody gets along. But it's sometimes village government. That's politics, and I don't know whether it was part of the election created some divisiveness, but it's just. But I'm hoping it's going to get better.
Yeah. Is Bellows Falls a big place? I've only been there like once or twice, I think.
Not really. It's I think it's actually smaller than White River.
Is it?
Yeah, they're probably comparable in size. There's just a really tiny village, and then countryside.
Well, I think it's I like to get out and explore Vermont. I've been a few places. Let's see, I've been to Montpelier, I think 3 times. I loved it.
Yeah. Did you do a show there?
Well, I went there in 2006 or 2005 I received the Jack Rarish Award for Communication, and then I also received a resolution from the Senate for somebody that's found recovery and doing a show about it. And it's just it was so great to really feel the people that loved what I was doing. So there's people that feel the same way you do. That really think that we need to be more open to understand people.
Well, I think that's part of the public or the community access TV community.
Exactly,
too.
yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that are right in that community that are like, well, we need to do this. We need to get the word out.
Yeah.
Because we don't have at least in Bellows Falls, we don't have a local paper either. And
Right.
so we have you can get a Keene paper, or you can get a Brattleboro paper, or you can get a Rutland paper, but there's no Bellows Falls. So we're sort of like the news source. And,
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, people are afraid to become a producer because they're not sure how much work that is, and actually it's not.
It's
you know,
not.
I mean, you take it as far as you want to. If you want to do extra stuff or you want to learn stuff, and that's and it's the thing that boggles me though is that it's all free. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
It's like I could come down here and just say I want to do a show of the week, and it's like it's great,
Mm-hmm.
And the staff here is great. Emily, my camera person, she doesn't, sometimes she's in the back there. If I'm doing a funny show or something, you'll hear her giggle. You will. You will. She tries to stay quiet, though.
All right. Well, that's part of her job, right?
Yeah.
Just to stay quiet.
She does a wonderful job, and Sophie and everybody else here at CATV is great. And Bob Franzino is actually retiring this year, and it's going to be so sad because he was here when I first got here.
Yeah, he's been here a long time.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I asked him what he was going to do. He going, I forget where he said he was going, some lake or something. And I said, you going to come back to see us? No. No, he will. You know he will. Yeah.
I think Bombazine, right? He told me the last time I was here, it was like Lake Bombazine. They have a cabin or something there.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, he's looking forward to it.
Good.
Of course, I don't want him to get too used to it. I may have to send him some letters or something. Or a postcard.
I'm going to do an interview on his dock or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go there. Do an interview with him. Have him come down here. Hey, Bob.
That's funny.
Yeah, it is. But, I wish that more people would see the possibilities of when you have an idea in your head, how to be creative enough to see what it is that your vision could be, and the whole spectrum.
I mean, I think people limit themselves.
Yeah, they do.
When they don't, because they think it's really going to be difficult, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But once you get there, and you see that it's relatively simple. I mean, like here and in Bellows Falls, the staff support you so much that it's hard to mess up. It's really,
a lot of people will ask me, do you make scripts? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, no. We've scripted this whole show, by the way.
This whole
everything that's all been on teleprompter.
Sure, I've seen some people do it, though. They do.
I don't see how you could do that, because I can't. I'd be reading,
I was, when Sue Castro first started her show, it's all about the animals, or whatever it is anyway. She wanted me to come on to the show about my cat that had just died, Scampy. And she literally had a script.
Wow.
And I'm
I think that's how they do it in professional
Yeah, and she goes, well, you can
television.
talk about this and this. And I'm like, you do know that.
We just wing it.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wing it. But it was so funny. So after that, she come to know that it was easier just to have a conversation.
Right.
So much easier. Yeah, I can see having a script if you got to do a play or a movie.
Or if you have a specific set of things that you want to say.
Yeah, well, you have certain questions.
It gets more stilted if you have a script, I think, and it's not as natural. And that's the problem.
Also, if people want to see your show, your two shows, where can they go to find them?
Well, we have a website, so you can go to fact8.com. So it's FACT8.com, and there's all sorts of shows. I mean, and one of the things I don't know if we've talked about is there's a site. Actually all of the community access channels in Vermont share a place called VMX. It's on the web, and you can download shows. Other stations can download shows that some stations produce. So that's why your show could be on in 5 different places.
Yeah.
And we do a similar thing at Fact TV. But we would say you'd go to www.fact8.com, and then you can there's all the shows you can watch TV.
That's great.
Quite a few shows up. So
yeah, we have to pull some of yours off there. And see what kind of a.
Because we do a live show on Wednesdays that can be.
It was just telling.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a fun one?
Well, it's live TV, so sometimes the mics fall off. We had one week the guy sat on his mic and we couldn't find his mic, and it's just stuff happens.
Yeah, but that's what makes it great.
Or you're supposed to air a clip and the clip doesn't go, and then when you're like, are we on? Are we off? Are we on? Are we off? It's entertaining.
Well, Mike, I've had such a good time with you, and I really do feel that I've made a very good friend in you. And
the feeling is mutual. I've really enjoyed being here. We've only met each other twice now, and I feel like we've known each other for a long time. And,
exactly. And I hope we keep up being close friends. I would really, really like that.
Yeah, it's fun being on your show. Thanks for having me on.
You're going to make sure you come back, though, right?
Well, you're going to have we'll have to come back because when we get this show done, I want to maybe we can air it and talk about it, and I would like to get your reaction to how you feel about it, and then where we can go from here.
Yeah, because I think that would be great.
This should be the first step. It shouldn't be
right.
This isn't the end of the process. This is the beginning.
The very beginning.
Yeah,
right.
okay.
I like that. I really do like that. I really do.
Well, thank you.
But I'm going to ask you one last thing before you go. If you know of somebody that maybe has a story kind of like mine but doesn't want to come forward and maybe feels afraid, could you just kind of let them know what that would mean to you, what it means to you when people go through those hard times?
I will. I'll have to think about that. But yeah, if I come across someone I think that would come up and do that, I definitely will.
Yeah. I think that would be good. It's kind of like being able to be heard, like you did with me and everything. So, but I think it's also somebody has to be comfortable in their own
you have to
skin.
really be comfortable. That's one of the other things that amazes me about you is you're so comfortable in yourself and so comfortable talking about yourself and the journey that you've been through that it's.
I can honestly say today that I couldn't say before is that I truly love myself, and I think I'm a very beautiful, beautiful person, all forms, body, mind, and spirit.
Good for you.
You gotta love your body, right?
Yeah.
I got some good curves going on there. I do.
You do.
I'm gonna have to pass the show next. We'll make you one of the judges.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me today.
No, I even picked on you a little bit,
You
Mike.
did. Yes.
Okay,
but you gave me some gifts too. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you too. So, but you're going to come back, right?
I am going to come back.
Did you hear that? He's going to come back anyway. So this is Linda Carbonneau and Mike Smith from Fact TV.
Right. And thank you all for listening and thank you.
Yeah. So check us out. Walking Through Life TV show. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How was that?
Walking through this life of mine, well, it's teaching me so many things, like how to love and how to lose and how to choose.